So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea from a devotional called Christ, the Hope of Glory. We're going to break down its core message and see how it tries to answer a pretty fundamental question about life. All right, let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Is it possible for a life to look totally perfect from the outside, but be completely empty on the inside? I mean, that's a pretty big thought, right? And it's the central problem this devotional is trying to solve. So where do we even begin with a question like that? Well, we start with what the source material calls the illusion of a good life. We're about to unpack this idea that some of the lifestyles that look the most appealing might actually have some serious hidden costs.
Okay, so let's take a look at the first example they give us. On one side, you have what the world might call fun, sleeping around. But then on the other side, you see a devastating consequence. The message here is pretty clear. Actions have reactions, and that illusion of a good life can come with a really steep price.
And here's another example that really hits hard. The goal? Getting wealthy, no matter what it takes. The consequence? According to the source, it's utter destruction. It's a sobering thought for sure. A reminder that not everything that glitters is gold.
And this is where the devotional really drives the point home, pulling a quote from Ephesians. It says that a life without Christ is a life with no hope. Now that's a powerful and pretty blunt statement, and it perfectly sets the stage for the solution that's coming up next. Okay, so if a life without Christ is a life without hope, then what's the alternative? Well, that brings us right to our next section, the source of true hope. This is where we start to see the answer to all that emptiness we were just talking about. And here it is, the big idea, the hope of glory. Now, this isn't just some catchy phrase. The source defines it as something incredibly personal. It's the idea of Christ literally living inside you. This is the bedrock, the foundation of the hope that this devotional is all about. And here's exactly where that whole concept comes from. This quote from the book of Colossians is the cornerstone for everything we're talking about. Christ in you, the hope of glory. It's such a simple phrase, but man, it has some profound implications. So, what does this hope of glory actually look like in day-to-day life? That's what our next section is all about. We're going to look at two very, very different paths that lead to two completely different realities.
Just look at this contrast here. On the one hand, a life that the source describes with suffering, sleepless nights, fear, and just no hope. But on the other hand, a life of protection, peace, safety, and, well, hope. The difference is incredibly stark, and it really highlights the kind of transformative power we're talking about.
But you might be wondering, is this hope just a feeling? Well, the source says absolutely not. It's actually grounded in something much more concrete, a whole series of promises found in Scripture. Let's take a look at what they are. And this is a really crucial point. The hope that's being described here isn't just wishful thinking. It's not like crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. The idea is that it's a certainty, built on the solid ground of God's promises. So here's the first big promise from Hebrews. It's a promise of constant companionship, a guarantee that you are never, ever truly alone. I mean, that's a powerful thought to hold on to, isn't it? And the second promise, this one from Romans, is kind of like a form of divine alchemy. It's this incredible idea that even the worst things that happen in your life can somehow be transformed and used for something good. That's a pretty radical concept, and it's right at the heart of this hope. And then there's this third promise from Jeremiah, which speaks to a benevolent plan. It's the idea that there's a real purpose to your life, and that purpose is good. It's a message of peace and destiny, not just chaos and random harm. Okay, so we have these promises as our foundation, but where does it all lead? Our final section explores the ultimate destination of this whole journey of hope, what the source calls the promise of victory. Now this is so important. This devotional doesn't pretend that life is easy. In fact, it quotes Jesus directly saying, "In this world, you will have trouble." But then it completely flips the script. It reframes that struggle in the light of a victory that's already been won. And this slide just beautifully captures that whole journey. Using the imagery from Psalm 126, it shows us this process, this story. It starts with hardship, sowing in tears, but it ends with a joyful harvest, with reaping in joy. It's a really powerful metaphor for that promise of victory. So, after we've looked at the problem, the solution, the promises, and the ultimate outcome,
we arrive at the source's central, bottom-line conclusion. True hope is found only in a relationship with Jesus. It's a bold claim, and it's the absolute core message of this whole devotional.
And that brings us to our final question for you to think about. This devotional anchors hope in a very specific set of divine promises. But what about you? If you didn't have those promises to hold on to, what would serve as the anchor for your hope? It's a big question, and it's a great place to end our little explainer on Christ, the hope of glory.